Having gained good adoption on the market, we wanted rooms where we had an opportunity of speaking about what we do, like digital procurement conversation. These are conversations happening across the whole world. And we searched, we couldn't find anywhere in Nigeria. Last year, we ended up having to sponsor the Procurement Strategies and Innovation Conference in UK, London, about this time last year, where we were beside Amazon Business, some of the other procurement platforms. There was no Nigerian entity. The only entity I met there was the, I think, Director of Procurement for Lagos State at that event that we were sponsors, this 2025. Then we came back to Nigeria, looked for some as well. The challenge we found was that unlike that event we sponsored and attended in the UK, you didn't have anyone that is really proposited to digital procurement transformation. So it may be like supply chain, so it wasn't like a theme. So what we did, and we had gone to South Africa as well, had some of these conversations. So we need to have a forum in Nigeria where executives sit in the room and then we talk about this, especially the executives that are already leading those initiatives in some of our customer organizations, so that they can come and share their experience, like what I experienced in the UK. I had an opportunity of meeting people, asking questions, and then I got a lot of idea and insight into how I can even improve our services. So that's the whole idea behind us saying, okay, it's time for us to have a forum such as this, even if it is at least once in a year, that we're going to be doing it every year. Let's get all the procurement executives out there. Let's share knowledge, and that's how we end up having to develop. And then we now said, okay, what would be the key themes or sub-themes that should drive those conversations? Having decided to say, okay, guess what? The whole point of what we want to use the objective of this conference to do is to accelerate procurement transformation across the ecosystem in Nigeria, starting with the large enterprises, like we said, and then we'll take it down. So number one of the things we identified is how procurement can be used, compared, as in literally benchmark it against manual process. And so you can see in clear terms how manual procurement is just a huge cost leakage. The challenge we have in Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa is that everybody still counts cost of procurement in just Naira and Kobo alone. In as much as Naira and Kobo cost is very important, there are so many other costs that are leaking across the entire organization that people are not aware, and it's happening at scale. Just because of the fact that there is no direct attribution of a Naira to, so what this allows us to do is make it transparent, and then people can actually count the numbers, and they're not going to be hearing just from a Gloopro perspective. They're going to be hearing from people who have done those internal benchmarks after they onboarded Gloopro to say, okay, we want to compare our 1 year to 1 year after post, and then radically different. I'm going to mention a good example. Scenarios where, and that's why I gave, one of our customers benchmarked our services after 1 year of doing it against what the legacy was, and then benchmarked across the global stuff. The Gloopro had delivered about 25,000 SKUs across those 1 year, I'm seeing fulfilled across the platform to them. And the returns rate, which is the industry standard, you have anything involving materials fulfillment, the returns rate is what you use to measure quality. Gloopro did 0.3%, 99.6. And then the benchmark with Toda, I'm not going to mention names locally in Nigeria that undo that part. You have 30% return rate. And then the benchmark with the global entities as well, Amazon Business documented in research report is 18%. And that's how can a local organization with the madness we have in Nigeria be able to do this in a way where it not only beats local, but even beats the global standards. And that's part of the things in terms of, so that's with respect to manual cost. The other part is respect to executive time. I've answered in that part where people are spending time doing things that actually fundamentally adds no value. If you add the total cost that the people themselves constitute to the organization, and the cost of whatever it is, you actually realize that it's actually netting off, it's a loss. It's just that people are not thinking about it in this way. So that's two. And then the third thing has to do with how you can use digital procurement as a strategic lever to manage governance of tail spend. And that's one of the sweetest area that you literally can apply digital procurement because it's very susceptible to automation. It's not complex contracting. Like, there are generic things, some of them are recurring. Why would you want to buy an iPhone, for example? And each time you want to buy an iPhone, you're going to go through that process all over again, spend for each time. So a lot of all the features we built together on our platform, for example, I talked about the PTF. You have everything at your fingertips, and then literally things that normally would take 3 weeks to even get a purchase order out, within a day, 2 days out. We're not only doing this, again, we're convening. It's not a Gloopro conference. It is a Digital Procurement Africa. We're just taking the lead to bring the people involved in the room. So we have about 2 or 3 players in the ecosystem that have indicated interest and even potentially even get into strategic partnership with us to let us have this ecosystem. So we expect they're going to be there with their own, everybody's going to have their stands. So people have an opportunity of interacting with their own product as well, aside from Gloopro. That's 1. 2, we have even finance, finance-related organizations who are interested in what trade finance that can sit on the back of this digital procurement, opportunity, also being present. And then obviously you have the target audience themselves, the people who end up having to be the ones consuming, that will leverage these platforms and solutions to be able to transform their organizations in that way. So that's literally like